Hi all. Right, welcome to Carrier Battle Philippine C. I'm going to take on scenario 6, which is the first main scenario. The game, I think we've got scenario 6 and 7. 6 is the first day, I think. 7 is the second day then. Anyway, scenario 6 is the first real scenario. 1 to 5 is just training scenarios. So, and I did go through that comprehensive example of play. Recorded through it. Turned into 4 hours, four 1 hour parts, I think. But it was certainly useful for me. Whether it's of use to anybody else or no, I don't know. But I find that, like I say, might be daft recording things like that, but I find it keeps me ticking over if I do that. I've just got used to that. I think games in the past, before I started recording them, I would sort of just maybe get to a point where I thought, all right, I'm just. But I think when you record it, you feel the need to keep moving on, so keeps you going. Okay, so about to start this. I'm kind of terrified. I'm going to get things wrong here. I don't feel at all fully comfortable with the rules. There was also a few glitches through that example of play where I was having some doubts, but I think it's got some errors in it, for sure. Either that or I wasn't understanding, reading them properly or whatever. But okay, well let's just get going. If you take it slowly, Grant, which I'm sure you will, we can try and get through it. What I'd definitely like to do is upload the first part. I might not even review it back, just upload it there, just to see. I mean, I'm probably not going to get much done in the first part. Knowing me, it'll be an hour in no time, and I'll hardly have done a thing. But yeah, I'd like to get them uploaded. It's definitely the type of game at the stage I am with understanding it. One that I'd like to get out there for anybody else to have a look at and correct me when I do get things wrong, because I'm sure it's going to happen. One thing I noticed, and I think this came up in the example of play as well when we were looking at the counter mix. Now, like I say, all these have, their designated flight group on the back. That's 58.3, and this is all 58.3 stuff. Well, there's a slight issue between 58.3 and 58.4. And it's this counter here. Well, I say it's this counter here. It's one of these TBFs. You'll see this is a 58.3. Well, this should have an extra TBF in this one, and this shouldn't. If you look at the counter mix for the setup, it shows. Hang on, I should have it there. It's 58.4 has. So it has 58.3 has 9 F6Fs, 6 SBDs, 2 TBMs, 3 TBFs, and 1 F6F-3, the night one, which comes to a total of 15, 17, 20, 21. Comes to a total of 21. Well, there's actually 22 counters with 58.3 on the back. And this one should contain 7 F6Fs, 3 SB2Cs, 2 TBFs, and 1 TBM. I think it was a TBF. Or was it a TBM that was missing? It was one of them. And 1 F6, F3. For a total of 10, 12, 13, 14. And if you look at the actual counter mix, there's only 13. So I did search through BGG, through the comments. I thought it might be something that might have jumped out, but I had to go through all the whole forum, the comments, to find something that. And the guy had deleted his question as well. Fortunately, there was somebody had answered it with a link to another question, and it was identified to be in. I don't think they actually identified one of these were wrong, but it did say that you go by what it says in the setup. So, which means that this should only have 21 rather than the 22 that are marked, and this should have 14 rather than the 13 that are marked. I think it's either one of the TBFs or a TBM anyway. So I've corrected that. I think that's a little issue came up with that in the example of play as well. Right, so I've tried to. My guess is this isn't going to work, or it's not going to work for long. But I'm thinking the butais, here's the butai display. I'd just like to have this flowchart a bit closer to me. It was way over the other side. It was way over there before. And it's kind of too far away, that. So I thought about, well, initially I thought about having it on the map, but I think it is going to interfere with stuff here. So then I thought, can I get rid of the butais there? And do I need to go from butai 1 to butai 2? Can I not just go butai 1, 3, maybe end up with 5 and 6, and maybe, man, I don't know how the game's going to play out. Maybe you do need all 6 of these boxes, but I figured I could make do with this 1 and 3 and put that there maybe, and then that still gives me a little room. Of course, that's covering 2 more butai displays, just to put either the playbook or the rulebook, so that I can home in on some things. I'm going to want it beside me for my personal. Personally, I'm going to need it, but I always like to refer to the rulebook when I'm going over something as well. If I'm reading it, I'm as well putting the camera on it, and then it can maybe help others as well that are struggling with the things that I'm going to struggle with. Okay, so I've set everything up. Up the top there, that's all the anti-air craft stuff for all the task groups. They're all right. The Guam air raid value is 7. The chip pools are going to be 3 to start with. So 3 4s. And then it's got this commitment threshold and whatever. Now, I've set these at, you can have the historical, or you can have the additional, where you've got some additional Japanese forces. I just left it at the additional one, I think. I don't know if I should have been doing... It was just rather than hunt through all the counters and take the ones out that I'm not allowed to use, maybe. I dare say it says... Yeah, see, it says additional on the back of that one. So I suppose if I was playing historically, this wouldn't be involved. I'll leave it like that for now. We might get through the first video or two without it matter, and then if I do feel, or if somebody says no, I would change it back to historical, then I think these numbers end up being slightly less. And then I'm not sure how all that works, to be honest, the commitment stuff. Well, I know what it means is, you're only going to get so many Japanese carriers. There's only going to be so many, and I think it's to do with that. So, but we'll find out more about it. So everything's set up there. We've got our game turns set at the start point. We're set at action phase 1, and that's where we're starting with our segment. And and I might have to move that. It's quite possible it'll not be any good there. Yeah, and all our task groups set up. I went through all that. Yeah, all these ships were exactly the same as the example play, and all this set up for the actual carriers. So that's obviously the standard to start the game, and then I had to mess about putting all the flights back in again. And then the submarines. Well, it says this is where Task Force 58 starts, 1408. And it says you can put the submarines where you want. So in the example of play, I think they were sort of down in a line there. But I've kind of felt like moving one across here. The only restriction is you can't have it adjacent to one of the zone starting boxes, So I've put this one across a little bit to kind of cover for that zone. If there's going to be some forces there, and then put this one down here to sort of look at that zone, And the subs can help with spotting, and they can assist. Yeah, they can assist the planes with that as well. But I think they can. I want to say they can maybe spot themselves as well. But I'm not 100% sure how that works as well. So we'll find out. Right, so good to go, I think. And the chits are set up, and it's the same as the example of play. You've got A through F, forces A through F, and then we've got the US move chit, we've got the Guam chit, we've got the subs chit, and that turns out to be 9 chits, so we add the 3 no-ops to turn it into 12, as we need a multiple of 4. So that's going to be 3 chit draws for each action phase. Okay, alright, I'll just dig into it and we'll see how we get on there. Well, let's have a little glance at the introduction to this then. Scenario 6, the Battle of 19th of June. The rise and fall of Imperial Japan depends on this one battle. May each man do his utmost. Message from Admiral Sumo Toyoda. CNC Combined Fleet, 50th of June 1944. Yeah, I'm going to get these Japanese names of the ships and anybody involved all a mess, as I'm just about to again. Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa, that sounded not bad, and his fleet sailed into battle on the morning of June 19th with confidence and determination. They believed they could seek out and destroy Task Force 58 in the decisive battle which the Japanese command had been seeking since the start of the war. That day, the Japanese launched 4 massive air raids against the United States fleet, totaling more than 400 sorties. At the end of the day, the US fleet had hardly been touched, and about 3/4 of the Japanese aircraft had been lost. Wow. This first full battle scenario is broader in scope and longer in duration than the training scenarios. It includes all of the game's essential elements. This scenario requires rules section 1 through 15, which I have read through, or did I get as far as 15? No, don't worry. I will be looking up things as I'm going along. Anyway. It says at this point you may wish to refer back to the comprehensive example which illustrates the opening turns of this scenario. Right, okay, and then I will go through the setup instructions there. There's nothing different to what I've just spoke about. You know, all 20 Japanese forces are in play. You fill up the cup. All level 1 intelligence. I'm not using the double force chits. That was an optional thing. And then the AA setup was, I didn't have to change that. It was as is. And we start on the June 19th in the 5:30 box of the game turn track. Okay, right, let's get going. Right, so action phase 1, the very first start is place new Japanese forces, 7.1. So I've got the book open here, the rule book open on page 7 at the sequence outline, just because obviously it might give a little bit more information here. I'm probably going to have to go and look at 7.1. So it says, determine how many Japanese forces arrive this turn, and it references 7.1. Place new Japanese forces on the map. Place activation chits for the new forces into the cup and count the total number of activation chits in the cup. Place the chits per phase marker, 3.24. Well, actually, that's already been set up, hasn't it? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, because in actual fact, then, I think we're going to be starting in that box. Does it say that maybe in the sequence, the scenario instructions? Because we've already filled the sequence chip cup, and we've adjusted the chits per phase marker. So I think we've done all these 3 in the opening, in the setup. So I think we're moving on to move all air raids, which is 10.2. Well, it does actually say lay the game turn flow chart out beside the map, place the action phase marker in the 1 space, and the segment marker in the very first space, which is place new Japanese forces. Okay, but we don't add any more just now. That's where we're starting, isn't it? God, I'm just at the beginning and I'm starting to doubt things. Yeah, place the following activation chits into a cup. Forces A through F. That's talking about place new Japanese forces. I think that's already been done in the setup. I think come the next turn, I'm going to add another third of the forces, haven't I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because we have already added the sequence chits. Full sequence chip cup. Adjust chits per phase marker. Yeah. I'm going to just skip by that. I think, in my opinion, in the sequence, in that scenario instructions, then it should just tell you to move to start here, because you've already set these up. So move all air raids, 10.2. Well, there's no air raids, is there? Japanese air movement segment. Move all Japanese air raids on the map. Right, well there's none of them, so we can move on down. So now we're going to roll for mission movement, 7.221. Well, there's no forces yet, so we can skip by that. So they're not actually going to move this turn. So the first thing we're going to do is draw sequence chits, 3.2. So yeah, so it says the same number of chits are drawn in each phase. Same number of chits are drawn in each phase. For each Japanese force activated, apply the carrier air raid procedure. So we check for the air raid. If the force is a carrier force, move air units on the air return. Move the activated force. Right, okay. Let's get 3 chits. So I'm going to draw them out of the cup. But I'm going to draw them one at a time, and I'm going to deal with them one at a time, because I'm pretty sure that's how you need to do it. Okay. So first one is force C. So no, I'm doing something wrong here, haven't I? I've started this wrong. They should already be on the map, Grant. These forces should be out. That's why. That's why it shouldn't skip by the place new Japanese forces, 7.1. That's a great start. Right, so stop criticising how the rules are set out, Grant, and follow it properly. Okay, I'm going to put that force C back in the cup. Right, let's do it properly. And this is the Japanese force arrival, and this is rule 7.1. And I think it's just the way it was saying in the arrival phase of each game turn, 1/3 of the Japanese forces not currently in play will arrive on the map. But I should have just read on, really, shouldn't I? I've got a bad habit of just reading a little bit and then deciding for myself how it is. But so begin by selecting the required number of force counters. Does not matter which letters. So I suppose we have done this. We're using A to F. And then we have to select the corresponding activation chits to be placed in the activation chit cup. We've done that, admittedly, and so, fair enough. Each force arrives randomly in one of the 4 arrival zones printed on the map. For each arriving force, carry out the following procedure. Right, so using the Japanese arrival table printed on the map, roll the die and read the result to determine the arrival zone. Which force arrives, roll the die again to determine the specific arrival hex in that zone. If some force already arrived in that hex this turn, choose randomly from among the unoccupied hexes in that arrival zone. If there is a US carrier task group within 6 hexes, see 7.15. So just jumping down to quickly look at that. If we arrive in 6 hexes, there's a reroll that you're going to take on. And then place the new force on the map and place its activation chit in the sequence cup. There are 4 arrival zones, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each arrival zone consists of a group of hexes number 1 through 10. Each result in the Japanese arrival table specifies a zone. Each zone has 10 arrival hexes. Yeah, we know what we're doing there. And then what we're going to watch for, if we place one that's within 6. I want to say that where we start, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think there's any from where it starts. No. The setup for this scenario does not allow, there's not any of the zones that are going to be within 6 of Task Force 58, so we're not going to need to do this. Right, okay, so let's get that done. So that's what we're following there. We're going to roll. So we're just going to get A to F out here, the actual forces. Yeah, I almost started with disaster there. Eh? Yeah, I think I would have had to work it out, because I realised once I drew that chart that I thought, I'm missing something here. There's no forces on the map, or what did I do? Right, so A to F, so we'll just do them as in A to F. Okay. Right, so I don't have any fancy dice towers or anything like that. I dare say a roll. It's not really important, that's these die rolls, but we can show it. So I'll just look up, right? That's a 10, so it's going to be, it says it's zone 4, which is the one down here, isn't it? Yeah, it's the sort of orangey ones. I know it's difficult to see that in the and the camera actually, but they are orange looking. So zone 4 for force A, and then what zone is he going in? He's going in 1. So he goes down here. Right, so he's pretty far away, but as far away as he can get, really, isn't he? Right, and then for B, we've got a 2, which is the opposite. That's zone 1, away up the top. And see what I get for that. We've got a 2. So this is zone 1, and he's going in number 2. That's for force B. Right, I'm just going to roll for C off the camera. That's not they're not that important, these rolls. Right, that's a 7, so that is zone 3. And then the hex is going in as number 7. So zone 3, zone 3, 7 there. I'll just zoom out and we'll get the last 3 put in. So for D, roll the 5, which is zone 2. Roll the 5 again. Good at rolling doubles here, aren't we? So zone 2, 5, that's force D. Force E is an 8, which is zone 3. And that's a 10. Zone 3, 10. And then finally F is a 2, which is zone 1. And another 2. Oh, I've got 2 marked already, haven't I? Right, I need to roll that again then. Got an 8. Right, there we go. Right, okay. Hopefully that's the proper way to do it, to start. Right, well, that's kind of good I put that sub up there, because we've got 2 of the forces there. And we do only have 1 down here, but you can see they're more likely to move. Well, actually, that's in that little zone there. That's in this zone. Well, in actual fact, he's more likely to move like that, isn't he? 2 to 9's that northeast. In fact, that's bad. We don't want him, because that's where they're trying to get to. Anyway, okay. Right. So that was place new Japanese forces. Then we would fill the sequence cut, but I through the scenario and setup instructions, it does already do that, and it adjusts the chits per phase marker. So now when I move away raids, there's none. Now we're down to roll for mission movement. So it does mean that they can move this turn. So we roll for mission movement and get a 10. So I'll just mark that at the side just now. I mean, the most that are going to move is 3, because you know, we're going to draw 3 chits out the cup. So next step is indeed draw sequence chits 3.2. So I'm going to just draw one at a time. Okay, so first chit we draw as force D. So that's the first one we draw. So first of all, we need to check for the air raid procedure. Then we would move the hex. Sorry, there, yeah. So we've drawn our first chit. I'm going to leave it there though. But then we'll go through this procedure, and I've got to assume that you go through all these steps first, and then go back to draw your second chit. Because if you've got to draw them one at a time. Resolve air raid procedure. Move force 1 hex, remove US advantage. So that's what I was saying, that's starting to sink home from that example I play. If we got to this stage and activated the force and we had a US advantage on it, it would get removed. So that's why you kind of want to do something about it, while you've got that advantage on. Reduced detection status. So this, my guess here is that if we had it spotted, now they just deteriorate, the detection status deteriorates from, you know, I can't remember, there's 3 different levels, isn't there? There's 3 different levels. Spotted, I want to say, is the highest one, but that could be wrong. They've got wee chits for them, haven't they, Grant? They're not telling you there. Spotted, maybe located. Spotted, located, and approximately spotted. I think they go in that order. So if it was spotted right now, it would drop down to located. If it was located, it dropped down to approximately spotted. And then if it was that, I think it would then become unspotted again. So we'd need to go and find it again. And then this air return turnaround is, I want to say, the stuff on the booteye displays there. They've got to go through this here, the turnaround track. So basically the flights, they would be in servicing, available in different ranges, and then all ranges available there. So I'm sure we'll come across that as the game moves on. So all we're going to be doing here is resolving air raid procedure and then moving that force 1 hex, and then we're going to draw another chit, do the same, then we're going to draw the third chit, do the same. Okay, so it's force D, and that's up here. And if we remember, well, I certainly do remember that the 530 turn needs to be within a maximum range of 5 to consider an air raid. So just glancing at the chart there, you can see the Japanese air raid generation table. So it needs to be, because it's 530, it's got to be within 5 hexes, which it clearly is not. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 hexes away. So I'm not going to do air raid generation. So we're just going to look at the movement dice, which is 10. He's in this zone here. 9 and 10 is southeast. So he is coming a little closer by moving down 1. And that's it. And then we go back to draw the second chit of 3. And we get a no op. Right, actually I should have put that force D aside. It's no great place to put these, so I'm just going to pile them down at the bottom right of the map here. No op, right, so and then we've got one more to come, which is force B. Right, so where is force B? Right, he looks a bit closer, but not 5 still. Well, it wouldn't be 5 because, well, that's not true. There is it could end up being there, but I already said that there's nothing within 6 of that. So you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's a bit closer. So a 10 for him for movement is going east though. So he's going to actually move from that into a different zone. Moving from zone, well, no, it's not a different zone, but it's going to use a different compass. Actually, still 6 to 10 that way anyway. So that's it, that's force B. That's our 3 chits for this phase. So let's move on. So I think I can take that dice away now. I think that was that done. So we check for air raid procedure. We move 1 force, 1 hex. None of these apply. So we go down and move air missions, 4.4, and adjust fuel markers. Well, no, with no air missions. Is that right? Yeah, they would need to be up in the air here. So we don't need to adjust fuel markers. Right, now, however, we could do this once per turn, remember, Grant? Just once per turn. Initiate air searches, 8.27. That's right, innit? Yeah, I don't have any flights up in the air. And we're not going to get them up in the air until this segment here. Yeah? And what about the cap missions? Yeah, they still would come up in the air there as well, wouldn't they? In the launch. Yeah, because you are, I think. Okay, I was just looking through some stuff here, trying to make sure I'm getting things right. And this is actual launch segment, so this is in the next segment, US Air Operations. And it was just this, reading this that kind of threw me a little bit. It says, units launched are moved from the ready box and placed either in an air mission or a search mission. And we're at the search segment right now, and we're referenced to rule 8.27, initiate air searches, which is here. To initiate a search, proceed as follows. Launch a unit during a search segment. A search will consist of either 1 or 2 units stacked together. There's no benefit to having more than 2. So, I don't know, it's a bit deceiving, that bit that I just read, because it sounded like you would launch your searches there, but this is a segment before that segment, so... And the stuff that I've read and looked up previously suggests that this is the right time to be doing this. So I'm going to do that. So then 2, select a number max radius marker and place it as described in 8.25 to 8.26 on the correct side to indicate the type of search. Move the search mission 2 hexes directly towards the max radius. The units may now attempt to search any Japanese forces located in their search zone for that move. And yeah, and finding out this, these searches are going to be tough. It looks like there's quite a few questions on BGG. I didn't start looking at them, but I thought I might need to soon. Definitely that overlay that Mike from My Own Worst Enemy created looks like the way to go. I also had a comment from David, who's followed some of my videos before, saying that yeah, it's a great addition. So I'm assuming he uses it as well. This is an example in the rules, and this is what Mike created. He created an overlay, so a transparent sheet with all these filled in, so that you could lay on the map and check this first search that we're going to do. There's where we launch from. So we move out 2 hexes. Let's just say we're going that way. So we move out 1, 2 hexes. We can now search these 4 hexes, which is easy enough to start with that one. But then once you move 4 in your next move, 1, 2, 3, 4, you then search, and you search in the section that you've moved through, which threw me a little bit as well, because if you're moving from this one to this one, but you're moving through this one, so I guess there's a case when you're coming back. Well, no. Look, that's the one that you move through. So in that second movement, which remember isn't going to be until the next turn, not the next phase, we're only going to get to do this. We're only going to get as far as this in this turn. And then, so the next turn we move up to there and can search all that orange area. But without this overlay, I mean, yes, you could look at this, but without that, like having an overlay, which seems like really a thing that they should have, I think, tried to include something like that to make it, because this can be full of, there can be a lot more counters about here than this, and to know which ones you can search, you can see you'll be able to search this one. And then when you move again, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're in that section, and it's that red area that you can search. And it's only that area when you move through that. You can't search here now or here until you then come back. And then when you come back, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, search that area again, I guess. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, search that area, and then you're back. But yeah, so it looks like I might try and create something like this as well. Not that I've got laminating things. They're see-through. Would that work? It might do it. And then just some coloured pens to mark the outlines. Well, we'll see. I'll see if I can do it. If it drives me nuts, which I think it might start doing that. Right, so, well, we clearly want to launch some search missions, and we're as well doing it in this phase. I mean, I could leave it to the second, third or fourth phase, but I don't really see the point in that. So, and yeah, I'm going by... Now, I didn't completely copy things from the example of play. I've got mostly fighters up here ready to go. I don't really see the need. Now, I've got no... You know, you're not going to find any great strategic plays here, and plus I'm still learning the game as well, but you're not going to see anything fancy. But I do feel like, going by what I've seen, that we don't really need the airstrikes right now. So, and I'm definitely going to send an intercept mission to Guam to try and get there, for sure. But I think if anything, we're going to eventually get an incoming raid. And we don't need our we don't need our attack planes for that. We need our fighters. So I think having more of them ready rather than the attack planes makes more sense. Now, you do need search planes. So I have left the SPC2, SP2Cs, 1, 2, 3, 4 there. And okay, that's kind of copying the example I put as well because they launched 4 missions. But it seems about right. I think 4 search missions. Now, what I might want to do is move some of these other ones up so that I've maybe got another couple ready to go for the next turn. To maybe send another couple out, maybe. I don't know if that's overkill or not. Like I say, I'm just learning the game, so that was my take on it. So I think we're going to do this. We're going to launch 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So all the SP2Cs. And the main reason for using them rather than the other attack planes is because they've only got 4 fighting strength, and the other attack planes have got 5. So right, so where are we going to put them then? Well, they're all here. We don't track fuel on them. We need some markers here, Grant. Did I set them aside or I put them away? I think I put them away. So we need 4. Right, so there's 4. What I'm going to do is, I know there's maybe no need because probably unlikely I'm going to move the task force, but you're meant to use these search origin markers. So it's to sort of place in that hex in case the task force moves away, because that is where the actual search gets taken from. However, once we fly back, we don't fly back to the search origin marker. We fly back to wherever the task force is. But what I thought I'd do is I'll just make use of that box up here. And I'll just put the 4 of them in there. It's probably not necessary, this, but in fact, I'll just pile them up. I'll need to remember that that if the task force does move, then I'll need to move them onto the map because that's where the task force is now. But it's just rather than clutter that hex. Okay, so we've got 4, and I'm just going to do the standard search, not the narrow one. I'm not clever enough to work out if that's better yet. So where are we going to go? Well, I mean, yeah, I could send one up here. There's only 2. They're kind of spread out, aren't they? Well, there was only 6 forces appeared. Of course, the thing is, well, no, that's not the case, is it? Yeah, well, come the next turn, when I get to move them again, well, we don't know. We're not going to know where the extra forces are. There's going to be another. How many forces are left? 14. So 14, yeah. So we're going to have another 4 forces. So, but there's no telling where they could be. They could be in any zone at all, you know. So definitely it's like 1. There's 3 here. So I definitely want 1. Right, let me see. Well, they can either go out. Where's that diagram? Oh, it's there. So that's the ways they can go out. So they can either go out, yeah, on the spine of the hex or straight through the hex. So we can either go out that way, or we could go out that way, which doesn't look as helpful, or we can go out that way. Well, that way is going to get C and E maybe. So yeah, I think I'm going to put one that way. So let's do the first one that way. So it's 10 hexes from the start. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is number 1. And we're going to move him out the 2 hexes. 1, 2. So now he would be able to search and what is it? Where he is and the 3 other hexes behind him. So he'd be able to search here, 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 and here. So which is not any good. There's nothing there. So, but when he moves, well, actually, when he moves again, 1, 2, 3, 4, he's still not going to be able to search anything. But there's no clever way of doing that, I don't think. It's just going to take time. It's going to take time, and apparently, historically, they didn't send out enough of these. I think they kind of didn't want to send their planes away. Whereas if they'd done that more, done more searching, it might have. Well, results might have been different. Let's just leave it at that. I think. Right. So I think I definitely want to send one up north then as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or yeah, because you don't want to go up there. No, it's got to be up this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's where that one would be heading. The thing you've got to consider is these are all going to be heading towards this. Slowly, not one hex per turn, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, but it's either that way or that way, and I'm not so sure. Yeah, we'll go with that, because remember, I'm getting a 60-degree sort of radius. It's just that you've got the 3 ranges that you search in. That's the tricky bit. Right, so go with that for number 2, and that's 1, 2. He moves out 2 hexes, and yet again can search. What is it? These 4? No. Because that's different. That's me going up the spine. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's maybe I gets to search the 5 hexes by going up the spine that way. Right, and I'm actually saying I'm launching 4. Maybe I'm only launching 3 then. Is that silly? Yeah, it probably is. I probably should launch 4. I've got them there. So will we send one up this way? Yeah, because the first D's up there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that right? 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Okay, so send him up there. Moving out 1, 2. And yeah, well, I suppose we should send one down the way, shouldn't we? So this guy, if anything, he's going to move slightly that way. So, but then other stuff might appear down here, Grant. So do I go that way, or does it just go straight down? I think I just go straight down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And move out 2. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that. Whether I maybe should have just launched 3. Oh no, I think they're better being out there. They're 4 of the weaker attack planes anyway. Okay, so that was us. Initiated our air searches and moved our air searches. There was no we've resolved our air search attempt. There was nothing to attempt. And then adjust commitment index if needed. Right, I'm going to have a look at this rule, 1312. Yeah, I think this is about as far I got in the rule book. I don't think I read into this 13 rule. So there is a bit here that, and that's a bit wrong. I shouldn't really be doing that. I think while I'm playing through, I'll probably have a look at these. Now that I've started that, I want to say I got up to rule 12. Yeah, I did. I remember this bit. So, yeah. So 1312. So commitment index. Let's just see 1311 first. The Japanese commitment index records the approximate size of the Japanese carrier forces so far revealed in play. It starts at 0 and increases as new forces are introduced into the game. Use the commitment index marker on the general records track to record the index. Okay, so my guess is that if we find a force, that's going to move from 0 to 1. If we find an actual force. Commitment index must be checked and possibly adjusted each time any of the following happen. A new Japanese force is revealed in play, either in search or air raid. Right, so it's got to be an actual carrier force. And then number 2, the known air strength of an existing level 1 force increases. Okay. The known air strength of an existing level 1 force increases. I remember reading about that. So obviously if we're finding more knowledge of that level 1, I think. And then 3, a Japanese carrier force increases to a higher level, either in search or air raid. To compute commitment index, you compute a commitment value for each carrier force in play. And sum these values together. The force values are computed as follows. Ooh, yeah, there's a bit in that, isn't there? There's a bit to know there. Not really grasping that at all, to be honest. Right, well, probably wouldn't have helped the fact that you've not read through that part, Grant. So maybe that's something you need to do. Okay, well, I don't think it's not going to affect things just now. We've not found anything yet. So maybe when that happens, I need to know what it is I'm doing there. So we can skip by that. And remember this now, well, that's it for the whole turn now. We can't go back into that segment. Okay? So now we're into air operations, all carriers. Right, so this is where we get to start doing stuff. And the first step of that, we'll just move it on to that because I'm pretty sure we're going to launch. So we're going to move into that that phase, and that's we're going to launch some air missions. Right, well, I definitely want an air intercept mission to go to Guam. That's for sure. And then over and above that, I possibly just want a cap mission. So I think that's only 2 things I want to do. I don't want to create a strike mission. Don't see the point of that. So we've got what's F6F. So I think, I'm not sure. I mean, we know the Guam strength is going to be 7. Example play, they only took 3. I feel like I want to take more than 3. But yeah, I think I'm going to take at least 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm tempted to go more than that. Tempted to go to 6. I think I am. I think I'm going to take 6. Yeah, some of you might be shaking your head, but I don't know. So I'm going to take 6. I'm going to take 2 from here as well. So that is going to be air intercept mission 1. So that's going to appear here. We're launching that. So there is the 6 F6Fs, and because they're all F6Fs, they get the full 16 fuel. So we start with 16. And we can move them. We can only move them 1 hex, can't they? 6.24, 6.2. Yeah, when you first launch, you get to move them, because this is not the air movement segment, is where we would actually normally move them. We need to wait to the next phase of that. But we do get to move them 1 hex though, if we choose. My guess is we wouldn't, if we didn't want to move them, the fuel wouldn't, I don't think the fuel would move in this case, because that would only be in the air movement segment that you would use fuel even if you didn't move. So, launch, units can be launched only if the total number of units then occupying the flight deck at the moment does not exceed the launch occupancy. Some, all, or none of the ready units can be launched. If a search segment immediately preceded this air operations, any units launched. Okay, hang on. Right, so I was challenging this earlier, saying that I felt this was a bit deceiving, because it says units launched are moved from the ready box and placed either in an air mission or a search mission, which I would have thought you had to do that in the search segment. However, It says here, now I haven't quite read and took this in yet, but if a search segment 8.2 immediately preceded this air operation segment, which it did, any units launched on search count against the launch limit. Right, okay, that's all it's saying. Yeah, okay, they count against the launch limit for the current segment. Yeah, I was aware of that. Yeah, that still doesn't really help me out there then. I don't know why it says that you could launch units as a search mission. Certainly not in this step. Certainly not here. I feel like that should have been done. Sorry. Certainly not in this segment. I feel like it should have been done in that segment, which is what we did. But what is meaning there that we launched one search aircraft from there, and we're now launching one more. But it was a total of the two, and you're allowed to launch or land two in total, and not both. You either launch two or land two. Okay. Right. I'm looking for the bit that tells me I can move one hex. So. I'm not finding it here. Hang on. Okay, I figured it had to be here, which is maybe a little strange because, we're not in this segment at the moment. US Air Mission Movement, anyway. It says, except as noted, all rules in this section apply equally to both types of US Air missions. US Air missions move in every US Air Movement segment. A mission moves from hex to hex. And it carries on. Terrain, islands, and Japanese units do not affect air mission movement. A mission which has just been launched. So this is not in this segment. That's the thing. That's why I find it strange that it's talking about it here. Or okay, a mission which has just been launched can move one and only one hex at the cost of one fuel point at the same time it's launched. This is a special move occurring outside the US air movement segment. Well, it's telling you there it's not in that segment. I think I would have liked to have seen it in the segment that we're in as well. You know what? It might be there. I might not be seeing it. In 6.2, it would have been nice to see it there, a reference to it there, I think, rather than have to come back to this, because that's all I needed to come back to look at there, I think. Yeah, so that's all I need to look at, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna assume that if we didn't want to move it, then I don't think it would cost us a fuel. But I suppose we should move it. We're wanting to get to Guam as quickly as possible. Now the Guam chit is in the cup. We've already drawn 3 chits. And in fact, can we even get there in time? And if we move to here and then we don't draw the chit next turn and we move 2 to here, then we don't draw the chit the next time. Yeah, you're having to rely on drawing the chit on the 4th chit draw out of the 3 in the 4th phase, basically. So if I wasn't to move 1 here, does that help me at all? No, it actually doesn't. It's better to move 1. Yeah, it's better to move 1 just now. So I'm going to move that intercept mission 1 and just knock its fuel down by 1 to 15. Yeah, I think it's better doing it there, because then the next phase will take a chance and move 2. However, we might not. If we get the Guam chit, then we might have to rethink. But if we don't get the Guam chit, I think we'll take the chance. Actually, no, I might just move 1. Because then that puts me there, and then, because we might get the Guam chit in phase 3. And then I would have moved 2, and that might have been a waste. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's actually quite, the odds are against you, really. You can get into Guam before the chit's going to come out, isn't it? You need it to happen in the 4th phase, basically. Okay, you've said that already. Right. Will we have a cat mission then? I don't know. Maybe not. What if the Guam counter comes out though? Yeah, maybe we should. Because if it comes out next turn, we're only going to have intercept 1. Okay, well, I've put six aircraft into that. But, yeah. Right, the cap, interestingly, I was reading recently about the cap stuff. And I'm glad I did, because it says all units in each cap mission must be launched from the same task group. Right, that wasn't the case here for our intercept mission. At least I don't think it was. An intercept mission may contain only fighters, units, F6F or F6F-3 units. Units launched from different carriers and task groups may be combined in a single mission. Well, there, it tells you there. So, yeah, I mean, we launched, what was it, 4 from this task group, and we launched 2 from that to do the intercept. Now, for the cap mission, we cannot launch 1, 2, 3. They all need to come from the same, is it the same carrier or the same task group? Launch from the same task group. Yeah, it can't just come from the same carrier, Grant, because if you want 3, you wouldn't be able to. Right. So a task group can have at most 2 cap missions, totaling at most 3 air units between them. There's no real point, I don't think, creating 2 different cap missions, but, well, maybe there might be. So, what do I think I will do? I'm not going to do what the sequence of play, the example of play did, and avoid moving these things up. I think I'm wanting to get them up there. There's no point of them buried down there. Certainly not while it is. I mean, okay, if right enough, the example play, it was slightly different. They had an air raid on their way to them, didn't they? And I think, did they not get the Guam raid right away? Well, maybe not do it with every task group, but I'm certainly want to move some of the stuff up into servicing to get it ready. Okay, so right, okay, I'm gonna just use these 3 then. So 1, 2, 3, and this is going to be intercept mission 2. However, I'm just going to have it as a cap. So no, that's not where that goes, Grant. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So basically, it's up here hovering about. And when I say hovering about, I mean just circling around the carriers, I guess. Right, so that's air mission 2 there, intercept cap mission. And then we don't set its fuel. We roll for that come the time. And it receives its fuel marker when placed on the map, and then we'd roll a dice to see. The most we can get is 14 fuel. And the least we could get would be 10. But it lets you have something there available. That's why you're not getting the full fuel. I mean, I could have launched it as an intercept mission right now, and then it's got to sit there burning the fuel. So, you know, there's gambles either way, I suppose. And then during the a cap mission is placed on the map and receives a fuel marker in 2 cases. Let's have a look at that. So in 2 cases, one is during the US air movement segment, a cap mission may be placed on the map in its task group's hex. The mission may then move normally in that same segment. The reason for placing the mission on the map in this way is to allow it to fly out and intercept incoming raids. Yeah, so, and this wouldn't be launching it. It's already launched. It's just circling around the carriers or the task group, just sort of ready for action. And then once we decide to put it on the map, it gets a fuel marker, and then it can move its 2 hexes that turn. And the second time that we would place it on the map is a cap mission must be placed on the map in order to fight air-to-air combat in its hex. This can be done during US interception segment. Okay, a mission cannot fight air-to-air combat while it remains in the cap box. Yeah, so this could happen in the US interception segment. Okay, interesting. Oh, where is that? Where's the US interception segment? Is that worded wrong, or am I missing something? In a sec. Oh, It's not worded wrong, Grant. There it's there, US interception. So it's when we step into air-to-air combat. So my take on that is that when we step into that step, if we wanted to fight what was ever in our hex, it would have to be what was in that hex. We wouldn't be able to then put it on the map and start moving, because we would have had to do that in the... well, actually, yeah, we would have had to do that here. That's right. We would have had to put on the map here to be able to allow it to move 1 or 2 hexes. If we want to put on the map here, it wouldn't be able to move, and the purpose of putting on the map would be that we had a raid or something in our actual hex. So I think that's what that means. And it only gets its fuel marker when it's placed on the map. Okay, good. We're at an hour. How about that? We've done what? We've not even completed a phase yet. Can you not complete a phase at least, Grant? I should be able to, yeah. Right. Well, the next step is... I've got to take this slow at first. And I'll say it'll speed up a bit, but... yeah. Take that with a pinch of salt. It'll maybe speed up a little. I might not come and look at all these things, but I have to do it for myself, so why not just take an extra... This is maybe where some of the time gets used up, though, because I'm taking the extra time moving the camera about and things like that. I mean, I've generally got the camera paused, though, when I'm doing that, so that shouldn't add to the time. However, are we going to raise servicing to ready? 6.25. So just to look at, there's the thing that I think that's relevant there. See that air attack damage table, and it's got Japanese attacks only. They would get a +2 per unit ready on the flight deck, +1 if has landed aircraft on the flight deck, and +1 if air units are in the servicing box. So I think this is the downside to doing that. Whether there's something else that affects it as well, it's possible. Maybe we'll come across that. But I still feel there's nothing there. You know, there's nothing there. There's not even an inkling of anything, really. So I'm going to move some stuff. So, well, actually, I don't think we've got anything in servicing, have we? No, everyone's in the hangar. So we need to move on to the next step, which is hangar 2 from servicing. So I'm just going to move that segment along. That's 6.26. Planes can be moved from hangar into servicing or in the opposite direction from servicing to hangar. Each unit so moved in either direction counts 1 against the servicing limit. And that is that chart there, which we've looked at before. Here, so the servicing limit is 2. So we can only move 2, like, either way on the CVs, and it's a 1 on the CVL. So, do I want to move to... I think I do. Yeah. Each unit so moved counts 1 against the servicing limit. Yeah. At the end of the air operations segment, the number of units in the servicing box also cannot exceed the servicing limit. In other words, you cannot accumulate planes in servicing. Servicing is both an occupancy and an operations limit. Yeah, so the servicing limit on top of the... yeah, well, that's 2 as well, isn't it? Yeah, it's 2 and 1. We just looked at that. So we can only move 2, and we can only have 2 and 1 if you're talking a CVL. So if I had 2 already in here, I wouldn't be able to move any more up there. So what I need to do is, of course, the step before would have been move servicing to ready, and then that's what I want to do. So I'm going to move... I think I'm just going to move fighters up. So I'm going to move the A2 guys upside down. I'm going to move the A2 up. That a fighter as well. And the A2 up. Yeah, I'm going to go nuts and get my fighters up there. I feel like, I don't know, I don't think I should be hanging back, really. Yeah. That's a night one, but I don't think, is that the only other fighter that's there on? Must be. I wonder if maybe we should... consider getting some, not go completely nuts. Yeah, I think maybe I might just put some attack aircraft up after all. Well, actually, bringing this one up as well in case we want another search makes some sense as well. So, let's go with that guy and that guy. I'm just separating them because they're like fighters and attack planes. Two of these. I'm going to take the two fighters there, I think. And we got a one here. Going to go with that. Oh, what are you doing, Grant? Oh no, that's right. Yeah, because they've not launched. Well, do you want to move them up then? Okay, you know what? It's my first attempt at it. If it all goes wrong and we get a raid on this task group and it slaughters things, then so be it. Yeah, okay, I'll put that guy up there. And then down here, we only got the one. Yeah, we do. Well, that's a fighter as well, but I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a night fighter, so it can fight at night, but I'm assuming it can just act normally during the day as well. I might be wrong with that. Right, and then 1, 2. Yeah, I thought you were piling them all. That's fine. Up there, up there. Yeah, I don't know. This it could be that this is daft. I don't know. 1, so that's a CVL. That's a CVL. Actually, I'll use that one, I think. Right, okay, so that was hangar to servicing. And then lower flight deck to hangar. So if we had landed stuff in the landed part, which is down here, then we could move them into the hangar as well. But we never done any of that. Okay, and then the last step is actually land. So if we had units over our task force right now, we could land. And this was a bit that came up in the comprehensive example play as well, which got me going asking a question about, because in the example of play, how do you land in the air movement segment? And I thought, are you allowed to do that, or can you do it at two different places? But no, this is where you would land your aircraft. Okay. Right, I think we can maybe just move through these last few steps and then, okay, one video, over an hour long for one action phase. Right, well, that's how it's going to be, guys. So I notice I get quite a lot of views on my first videos and that, and then it kind of dies down a bit. It's just the diehards that stay there and watch the second one, I think. That's fine. I don't mind. I don't care. You know what I mean? Obviously, hopefully it's useful to some. I get some a lot of positive comments from the guys that obviously take to the way I do it and maybe can understand what I'm saying and things like that. But it's no biggie to me. I'm enjoying myself. That's the purpose. US interception, so air-to-air combat. Well, there's none of that. We're not on top of anything that we can go and attack. So we skip through that, and then the Japanese air attack segment, they've got nothing to attack as well. Then US air attack segment, so contact. Yeah, that's when we. Hang on, 5.2. Yeah, sorry, I had to remind myself, it's been a wee while. That's when we've got an airstrike mission over a target and we need to make contact with it because it might stray that we need to contact that before we can actually attack it. And then some things that would happen, we'd check surprise, Japanese would launch cap missions, Japanese would anti-aircraft fire us, and then we would finally get to attack the ships. So none of that happening. Clear inoperative flight decks. Well, we're not getting into that. Clear deck crashes, none of that. Advanced phase marker. Okay, that was good to skip through that then. So, advanced phase marker, that moves on to 2. And this moves not up to the very top, but it moves up to move all air raids. Japanese air movement segment. And they still don't have any air raids, so we're just going to skip on by that. But I should probably just stop there. That's an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, we got started. Bit of a shaky start when I was not getting... almost made a mess of it right for the start. Well, I realised I was doing something wrong. But hopefully the rest of it went okay. I know I've not done an awful lot. And as for my decisions to move these all up, I don't know whether that's wrong. I think I want them up there, ready to get out there. You know, it's all very well saying, oh, I don't want stuff up here while a raid's coming in, but you want these up in the air. You want them to get at the raids, don't you? So I didn't take that. Well, like I say, the example of play was different because they had a raid incoming to them. So it made some sense to be a bit more cautious and whatever. Okay, right, I'll leave it for now and I'll get this bit uploaded as soon as I can so that maybe I can get some comments to any mistakes that I might have made. I know there's not an awful lot happened, so hopefully there's not been any, but you never can tell. Okay, I'll be back later though, because, I'm into this. Okay, cheers.